All right. So this is episode 2 of Connect and Politic. We're first going to start with, the intro question, which is please tell us your name, where you're currently located, and your favorite snack.
Ooh, starting with the hard questions, huh? Name is Adrian Grant, at Adrian Grant on Twitter, because I always got to plug social media because that's the day and times we live in, as long as we have internet access.
All right.
Favorite snack is definitely Doritos.
Okay.
Uh, and what's the other thing? Oh, where I'm at right now, North Jersey. And if you're from Jersey, you know there's only two Jerseys, North and South. There's no such thing as Central. So North Jersey is where I'm at.
Talk that talk.
Yeah.
All right. What would you say is your fondest memory from childhood?
Fondest memory from childhood. Ooh. I'd say like the first like pizza party.
Okay.
You know, it's funny. I was telling my brother about this, like how like, you get older, you experiment all sorts of different things and relations and activities, stuff like that. But I don't know if you ever quite, if I've ever quite had the same joy as like the first time we had a pizza party or like a sleepover with like a friend's house, and like your parents said it was okay. Like for me as an immigrant, like that's like peak joy.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like I know it's such a small thing, but like I don't know. For me, that was like I don't know the pinnacle of childhood. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So, how do you think your childhood helped turn you into who you are currently?
Oh man. So I think like every other immigrant, right? Like that was born someplace else and came here. That helps, and have family still over there. That's
Mm,
such a big part of it. Like always view yourself under that scope, even though you may have like a passport of whatever country you migrated to, and you may speak whatever language of that is spoken in the country you migrated to. But I feel like
mm,
the whole immigrant experience, especially being Jamaican and growing up in Jamaica and coming here and then being, viewed as other, then living in the hood and going to the suburbs and then being viewed as other, and then going from the suburbs going to college where you're kind of like, one of very few blacks. It's just like, so that constant experience of like, I guess like rebranding yourself, but always feeling like someone different. I feel like definitely informed and shaped me even to where I'm at now, working with tech companies and startups and working with meeting other black people in tech. And the thing that they always voice is the fact that like, they always feel different or ostracized. And I always feedback to them, it's like, yeah, that's the black experience, right? Like we're going to be different, you know what I mean? And so I feel like a lot of the experiences I've heard from like African Americans in tech and the issues that they've had,
mm.
I didn't quite view it as that way because like, yeah, I'm one of the few people that's in tech, VCP, whatever that case may be. But it's like I've always been the outlier anyway, so it's been a relatively familiar feeling to me. So I guess that feeling of being the odd man out from childhood has translated all the way up to my career path, and it's what made me feel comfortable in uncomfortable situations to other
Yeah.
people.
So you essentially feel like you're, just from your immigrant experience, you feel like you've been straddling two worlds, and that's your baseline. And so, no matter what new thing you take on, you're always straddling two worlds. So you're not, you don't necessarily feel as uncomfortable as others may feel. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's like the gift and the curse, right? It's like actually, I think it's more gift than a curse. I don't know the downside. I mean, like I have a whole bunch of home remedies. You know what I mean? Like, especially with what's going on right now, you should see the things my mom's giving me. She's like, oh, this is COVID-19. This is the cure. Like, it's just, but in all seriousness, like stuff like the common cold or like how to make your own like face mask or how to like. It's just how I dealt with asthma growing up, given that we didn't have access to um, I forgot the butyrol pumps, or I forgot the technical term, but like
Uh-huh.
there's all sorts of different home remedies and stuff like that that you pick up, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, from this kind of immigrant thing. And so yeah, the straddling of both worlds. I first did it gift to the curse, but I think it's more gift than curse. I can't even think of a downside other than, you know, the punishments and the whoopings. But that's a whole other story. This ain't gonna
Yeah,
be
I
no
mean, I
Dr. Phil,
mean,
sir.
you
You ain't
could
gonna try to make me
you could
cry on
find
here.
the gift in that as well, depending on
That's
you
true.
know. But
That's true.
that's another podcast. I mean, another video. We can have another discussion on that.
True. True.
So name something in your life that you're not living. I mean, you're not willing to live without.
I like that you didn't share these questions beforehand because I'm sure I would have thought about it and give like a really good answer because I
Yeah,
know the answer.
yeah,
Everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, their family," or "Oh,
yeah.
whatever." And I'm trying to like one thing couldn't music,
Music.
music.
Yeah,
If I couldn't hear music, it would impact everything. The way I treat people, the way I take care of myself, the take care of people I care about. Like music for me is just the lifeblood.
yeah.
Like for me is it that's just I start the day, I end the day with it, which
Mhm.
is funny because I didn't even think about that till actually you posed that question. But yeah, that is
Mhm.
yeah,
And I mean, so since you brought that up, what's your favorite thing to do for self care?
workout, workout.
Yeah,
A few years back, got into to CrossFit. Drank the whole I'm a Kool-Aid drinker.
yeah,
When Steve Jobs was around, he served a big old glass of apple Kool-Aid that I drank, and I poured thousands and thousands of dollars into that company.
yeah.
And then after that Kool-Aid, I drank the CrossFit Kool-Aid.
Uh,
Um, and seeing guys like yourself that's constantly in shape, man, is a big part of that too. But
yeah,
yeah, man, the CrossFit has been a really good thing for people like myself, extroverts, like social group settings. Like it's just great. You know what I mean? You get to work out group dynamic, you get to feel the progression, but it's also like an individual kind of thing. So yeah, I'd say
yeah.
CrossFit.
All right, no, that's good. The funny thing about CrossFit is people who, like you said, like people like myself that's been in that life forever.
Hmm.
We did it without having a name.
It's true.
Like it
You
wasn't
you were doing
CrossFit.
hit interval programming
All
before
of
that.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
Like we had that movement.
yeah.
We just called it circuit training. That's all it was. It was just circuit training, and it would be a group of us, and we have all the competition. But that's good. I'm glad that they were able to package it and market it in a way that is reach the masses and um,
And charge a premium on top of it, just
oh,
like
of
Apple.
course, of course,
Yeah.
of course, of
It was
course.
like, yeah, it's 10. Do 100 push-ups and give us $1,000 for it.
Oh, yeah,
Like, and a
yeah.
sucker like me is like, yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. That's why, that's for me. I find it funny because, for a lot of these things,
Yeah,
if I just talk to somebody and tell them about it, they're not that interested.
yeah.
Whatever, whatever. But it needs to be fully packaged and
It's the
polished.
programming. I think the thing for what gets people is the program. The fact that you just go in there and they have like it's scheduled and you know what you got to do and it's just like you don't got to think about it.
Yeah,
Whereas for people like you, like I know you put a lot of thought into your diet, your routine, what you're doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like you have it very well thought out.
yeah,
And there's people like myself. I just don't have the capacity to the discipline, right? To sit that through and the time. I'd much rather just pay and have
yeah,
someone else think about it. Having seen the results of people that take it seriously, I'm like, okay, if I could get somewhere near that, I'll try that out.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'll
Nice,
pay the premium on top of that to get to that. Yeah.
nice. What do you do in your professional life, and how did you get there?
So in professional life, I work with tech companies and venture companies and startup companies. I've had a variety of different roles from starting companies, advising companies. I mentored quite a few different accelerators and incubators in the city. How did I get into the tech world? I've always been tinkering. Um, uh, since I can't remember in terms of like just hacking on stuff, modding stuff. When you and I met, Mike, way back when at NYU, like I was like hacking and modding Palm Tree. Just I'm gonna date how old we are. Like Palm Trios and T-Mobile Sidekicks. That was like part of my side hustle, selling drum machines or overclocking drum machines or blowing out the ramp. So I've always like just been like tinkering on stuff. I never. I went to school for business. Never thought I'd be like in tech, even though I was interested in it. I think the thing that really spearheaded it was I think I view the starting point for my career was actually like 5 years ago when I joined a venture capital from IA Ventures, and that was really the springboard for me in terms of like seeing how the sausage gets made, so to speak, in terms of like how people raise money and
Yeah,
deal terms and just being in the mix as far as like really early stage entrepreneurs and pitching and stuff like that. Because prior to that, I've always you read articles and you play around with apps and products, but like to actually be in a meeting and having someone come in and, they're pitching and, someone that's mortgaged their home and, they taught themselves this programming skill or just hired a team and, like just didn't see it right in front of you, like real life Shark Tank. It was just like, wow, people are actually doing this. And that was very motivational for me. So I guess it started as a hobby that I was fortunate enough to kind of get into and, still be in. And after all these years, fortunately, thank God. Yeah.
Nice. What's one thing that you would love to learn but you haven't gotten to yet? Since you were a thinker, you're constantly learning. So, what's one thing you haven't gotten to yet?
So the thing about a lot of the tangible skills I picked up as far as like technical stuff, audio editing stuff, mixing stuff, making, very amateurish beats and stuff like that. The one thing, I don't know if this is like a skill per se, but the thing I definitely want to get to is like movies and movie production and, like just like I was fascinated about how the tech scene works and how like fundraising works and how you build apps and stuff like that. And now I've been able to figure that out. But like, how does someone have an idea and an idea turns into a script and then pitches that script to wherever, and then that script turns into an actual film and then being on the set. Like that's something, I don't know if something to learn, but that's something I'm curious as far as how that industry works. Because I interned a couple of different record labels and, because I have a passion for music and, an artist management company. So I knew that. And then I wanted to learn the tech thing. So then I learned that. And so the next thing for me, I guess, would be the film and movie thing. That's next level.
Cool. Can you think of any advice that you would give your younger self?
I think I stayed with certain things too long, in the sense of like maybe stayed at a job too long, or I guess I think is be more aware in terms of like I'll give a really good example. Like I remember I was at a company, right, where like, I was there early on, and then I went through like several different cohorts. There's like people coming in and people leaving because the company culture wasn't that great. But I was early on in my career. I didn't really know that all that much, and so I wish I could have went back then and said like, hey, just keep your eyes open, because even though I didn't have such a bad experience, I think I would have been a lot further along in my career had I left earlier. Just seeing what my peers were doing, you know what I mean, and and how they were able to ascend in their career. So I think as far as like just not the whole sunk cost fallacy. The whole sunk cost fallacy. I think it's something I caught myself in career wise and stuff like that. So I'd say that thing in terms of like not feeling too betrothed, if I'm using that word correctly. You could edit that out or keep it in, make me look like a fool. It's all the same to me. Again, that's at Adrian Grant on Twitter. If you want to hear that thing properly pronounced, in addition to a bunch of hot takes on very aggressive rap music, you could follow me there. That'd be my feedback to myself.
All right. No, that's good. What would you say is the toughest thing you had to tackle, and how did you get through it?
Toughest thing I'd had to tackle, I feel comfortable sharing on this recorded video that's going to live on the internet. By the way, I'm going to quick sidebar. You do realize all this content you're creating and stuff you're putting up, people are going to be using, let's say 50 to 100 years from now, again, assuming humanity is still, civilization is still there, to recreate you, right? You do realize that, right?
Yeah, I know.
And you have no qualms with that?
No.
You have no qualms with your great grandkids looking at this as like, oh yeah, this is what great grandpop was like. He was so inquisitive and getting people to hop on these things.
Yeah, no.
Not really.
And which is why, as you noted, one of the more disciplined or conscientious folks around. So, I genuinely, I'm conscious and aware of my actions, and things I put out there. And things I consume as well, right? So I'm not just putting out, I don't know, videos or whatever it is about how I feel about what's going on right now. Like just some emotional outrage,
some clickbait type of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, because you've known me for a while. If I was interested in that, I'll be one of the social media gurus. You'd have
the illest fitness program, dude.
I know,
you got the
illest. This is what I'm saying.
You be killing it right now. Yeah.
Everything they do, everything these people are doing and making money and being big celebrities, it's things that I do. With that, like it's nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's just something I've been doing for years.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm not interested. So I'm not. I have no problem with the content or the things that I put out there that my generations from now, because the part of what I'm doing in the now and anyway is providing things that are serving the people now, right? So is everything I do is a work of service, so it's like to
Oh,
add is to add value to my life as well as the people I'm interacting with life. So if my grandkids want to tap
make
into that,
a
so
AI of a granddad. You're
yeah,
all with it.
that'd be good. That'd be good.
Yeah, see, it's funny. So as the tech guy here, someone as working tech, yeah, build tech, and I post, I'd say more frequently on social media than you do, even though I don't post that often.
Yeah,
I'm the complete opposite. Like I do mind, and that's why I'm so selective about like the content I put out there. I know, and I know I'm gonna get back to your question. I know you have a very tight program here, but hey, you were what I wanted to chat, so I'm gonna talk. Um, I'm very selective about the content I put out there. Like I put out like random little CrossFit videos and whatnot, but
yeah,
even like everything else, like because I'm gonna keep it old school. Like my grandkids, what they hear from me is what they heard from their parents. You know what I mean? Like, and whatever it is
yeah,
they want to pass on is whatever it is they want to pass on. Keep it
yeah,
old school, man. Don't recreate. It's like what Prince did. Was like, don't put me in no hologram. Don't put
yeah,
me on tour. Same thing. Like, dude, if when I'm gone, I'm gone. Don't recreate me. Don't make some Black
yeah,
Mirror thing.
yeah, yeah,
Anyway, that
yeah.
was a way off tangent. I forgot what your initial question was. So you're gonna
No,
have to.
no, I'm saying, what's the toughest thing you've had to tackle and why? And
Oh
why?
yeah, yeah. I know that's why. This is called deflection. I didn't want to answer that because I'm like the toughest thing.
Because you're trying to think of
Yeah,
like how to answer it.
yeah. Because
That's
if
also
if it, if it wasn't recorded, like I'm trying to think, like what do I want to put out there, and then
yeah,
also knowing it's you, you know what I mean. But I also want to
yeah,
give you something good. All
yeah.
right, the toughest thing.
But actually, I mean, if if that's causing you too much,
No,
to
it's
think,
not too much. No, no, it's not that.
um,
It's not that serious. I can answer it. I mean, like,
okay, okay,
so many things to pull from. What do you want to hear? Third world
that's true,
experiences.
that's
You want to hear
true.
some? You want to hear some poverty things? You want to hear about? You're going to hear about poor dietary habits because of economic situations. What do you want to hear about? You want to hear about racial injustice? The school system I was in got sued for all sorts of like. There's so many
I
different things.
know, I
Let me
know,
just.
I know.
I'll
No,
just
it's
share
your
this.
choice. Just pick,
Yeah.
pick one.
I'll share that one of the more difficult things to get through. I'll tap into what I was saying before in terms of like being the odd man out and
Yeah,
feeling different because it definitely was an adjusting period. A quick anecdote: when we first came here from Jamaica, I was actually placed in ESL. I didn't know it was ESL. I didn't know what ESL was, except that I was in class, and after a few weeks, a few months, I realized that everyone there like had really you know struggled with very basic common English words, and I told teachers like, hey, I speak English, but my accent was so thick at the time that they thought like I couldn't speak English, which is crazy because it's in Jamaica, they speak English, Queen's
right,
English actually. um, and so from that experience to moving around and from different economic back from different economic situations to going to college and stuff like that, I feel like getting used to that feeling of being different is that took a while, but it's thankfully become like almost like a shield in the sense of like you and I, we've been to professional networking events where we're there's not many folks that kind of look like us, and but still we had to go in there and network and shake hands and get business cards, and that familiarity with like, oh man, I'm the only one here that's like me. But I went through decades ago. It's enabled me to kind of like put that shield on, still be able to kind of go out there and do my job. So yeah, that's the toughest thing I had to get through. It's getting comfortable with that.
yeah. No, it's
So
good.
yeah,
How do you define success?
crap ton of money, my friend. Money you could fit into a yacht. I'm kidding. Success. I don't. The people I admire don't have a definition of success because they're always striving for something more. The people I look up to, like there's never like, oh, I made it to this or I got this award and then like I could just chill out right now. So I think if for if you're if you're able to set goals and achieve them, and put that in a loop, as programmers call it, or essentially put it in a repeat cycle, I think that's success. Like if you could, you set a goal, you accomplish it. You set a goal, you accomplish it. And as long as you're breathing, you could do that. Like that to me, if I could do that, that'd be fantastic. That's what I ultimately strive for. And the people I look up to, that's what they do too. So that's what I call it. So it's not like a set dollar amount or set activity, or some people say like happiness, or like, my loved ones happiness, stuff like that. But for me, I feel it's like it's about like, if loved ones happiness is a goal, achieve it. The next one is like a continual progression. And if you're able to do that, I feel like that's success. Yeah.
Nice. If you won the lottery tomorrow,
mm-hmm.
who are some of the people that you would want to give some cash to?
Me, myself, and I. No, I'm kidding. Like I'd give it. So I'd probably give it to I'd probably give it to obviously friends and close people. Definitely give a lot of money back to Jamaica and the school system there, and some of the charities there that were helpful. There's a lot of like global found charities that did a lot of stuff for the school system and for the town I grew up in there, which I still remember all these years later. So I definitely give some money to them. Yeah, I've done a little bit of that too now, but we're talking about lottery money. But I think I think the biggest thing I would do if I ever came into like a life-changing amount of money is set something up for like a grant system. No pun intended, but like a grant system for people like that have ideas or dreams or ambitions, and whether they're in high school or college, maybe they want to open up a barbershop, or they want to, learn how to program, but they want to like build a company. Like so for people like myself who were many years ago before I got into the game and known, investors and stuff like that. Like if you got a dream, but you don't have access to that network, and if $1,000 or $5,000 could get that dream from a dream to actually fruition, so you could open up that, get your first chair or whatever like that, like in a shop like that, to me would be, I spend a lot of time on that. I spend more time on that than probably anything else, because I just like being amongst people that are like yourself, that are like, dreamers, builders, doers, creatives. Like that to me just gives me the ultimate energy, and I think that's what gives me hope in all that stuff that's happening right now in 2020, is the fact that people are still striving. I'm hopping on calls, even my call prior to this, like people still trying to move and shake. People, I'm sure some people are down and out, and there's other people that's like, yo, no, there's opportunity. There's always opportunity, right? So, yeah.
Nice. If you could spend some time with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and why? And for you, well, I'll let you answer it, and I'll tell you when I thought of this question and I thought of you, there was someone that I figured you would say, but go on.
So I've never thought of this question, and I'm being honest about it. What's funny about people, like the question I've thought about probably the longest and hardest, I think you're gonna laugh about this, but you laugh about a lot of things. So it's like if you had to if you were on an island, right? And you only had one album to listen to for the rest of your life, what would that album be? Like that, I've thought about that way more. Like as someone that has responsibilities and stakeholders, like I've thought about that question way more than I should, because it's such a big thing. I was like, oh man, just one. Yeah. All right. But
actually, before we go, so let's answer that question. If you had one album to listen to.
See, I'm prepared for this one. This is the one I spent a lot of mental resources on. So the album I put in.
If you had one album to listen to for the rest of your life, what would it be?
It would be Wu-Tang Clan, Wu-Tang Forever, their second studio album, the double disc that came out late 90s, I think, or something like that. That album, I'll never forget where I was the first time I heard it. Like my boy had a CD player. Again, I'm old, and I came out in '90s, so obviously I'm old, right? And so we heard it on the way to school, which was mind blowing, because I think he cut school. Like I don't know how he got it, because like he cut school on Friday to get. I don't know how he did it, but he got it, right. Yeah. That's the first time I heard it, and then ever since then, obviously I got my own copy and stuff like that. Every time I hear this album, even up until this day, I discover something new. Because it's so much slang, and it's just crazy. It's just like I'm always like I thought I understood what that lyric meant, and then I hear it now. I'm like, oh no, he's talking about something else, right? And so like that's the one album I would take with me, because I feel like it's just such a it's like a full course. It's like several course meal, that album. Yeah.
No,
Let me flip it on you. I know you get this programmed on me, but I'm curious, like, what would that be for you?
I mean, that's see what my favorite album of
Mhm.
all time.
And by the way, that's not even my favorite album. That's just the album I put on the island. But go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite album because of how layered and complex and simple at the same time it is Illmatic.
Hmm.
Um, but I understand the like the Wu-Tang Forever album, how it would be extremely useful on the island
Yeah.
because
It's a lot
it
of tracks.
yeah it's it's so layered with there's so many different characters, Ghost takes on a whole nother character when he's spitting on
Yeah.
something, and then Dak is doing his thing, and then RZA is just bombing on him. I mean, like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's layered, so
Yep.
I mean there's so many and then that's just in hip hop. So
Yep.
that those questions, it comes up a lot in a lot of interviews, and would I never want to, like, I feel like it's an extremely unfair question to ask someone because it's so because for someone that really love, like I really love the game, so
Yeah.
it's like
You're making me choose, like choosing between my kids or something like
yeah,
that.
exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. You know what I mean? Like, then you got Bob's albums. You got I mean, just musical masterpieces. You got Mike's. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so
Oh
many.
gosh. Yeah.
You got Marvin Gaye's. Like
Yeah.
there's Sade. I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So but yeah, if I had for a hip hop album,
Mhm.
um, you know, actually, with the question I'm actually going to ask is,
Go ahead.
and you completely derailed me. See, I need to do a whole
See,
hip hop.
I scored. I did my job, man. My job was
I
to
need to do a
stump you.
hip hop
Episode 2, I
focus.
stumped Mike. See
Yeah,
that?
I need to do a hip hop
You
focus.
guys give a
But
like or a thumbs up.
that we might as well just ride that out.
Yeah, give me all the props, guys. I
What is
stumped Mike.
your favorite
Go ahead.
verse of all time?
Favorite. Say that again. Favorite what?
Your favorite verse of all time.
Favorite verse of all time. I thought about the album question a lot longer than the favorite verse. Oh gosh, there's so many to choose from.
I know.
Going back to Illmatic, AZ's verse on Life's a Bitch. That's probably the best featured performance ever I've ever heard on a rap record. Like, how do you make a career out of one verse? Like literally, like that's his career,
Nas
right?
did it. I mean, Nas did it. Live at
Not the barbecue, nah, but it wasn't. I think Live at Barbecue. Don't get me wrong. It was monumental, right? But I think AZ gets shows in 2020 because of that verse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't think Nas doesn't get booked.
I hear you, but AZ's like Do or Dies was also a classic.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have gotten a budget for that if it wasn't for.
But it's the same. Nas wouldn't have gotten Illmatic if it wasn't for Live at the Barbecue.
I think I think this is a real interesting conversation. I think the success of AZ's feature was bigger than Nas's on Live at the Barbecue. I think Live at the Barbecue, it was like it circulated. Everybody knew, oh, who's this guy? He really stood out. It was like 8 other guys or 5 other guys on the track, right? It was a lot of people on it. But that Live Submission is like just the way he started off. Like I just feel like that is his career. His career. Like if he did nothing else, people were like, oh yeah, that's AZ.
No, that's
whereas Live at the Barbecue, it was dope. But I don't know if Nas would have been if that would have given him enough. Like just people that have never heard Do or Die, have never followed. It was like Pieces of Man, all his other stuff, all his independent people have never listened to Quiet Money, but they've heard of Life's a Bitch, and they're like, oh yeah, that's that guy killed it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. For me, my favorite verse of all time, since I asked you the question, it's Nas. And so it's a couple, but it's Nas, Verbal Intercourse.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's a good one.
So for
That's a good
me,
one.
like, that, and given how, you know, Ray destroyed that track,
Yeah.
Ghost destroyed that track, to still have, and then they were all in their prime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They just still have what Nas did on that track is just like, I mean, you're talking about going back and listening to things.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to that now. Like after this, just play it.
Yeah.
And you would see how like you'd be like, oh,
How could
that's
how could how could someone rhyme like that? Like the his airflow was
it's
his
it's
breath
insane.
control.
Yeah, that anyway, but yeah, that so
So
we turn this
one
into a hip hop
one
focus.
one last thing before we move off this topic. So that AZ thing I mentioned was just the first thing that came to mind in terms of like making a career out of a verse. In terms of like I think it's a dope verse. But my actual favorite verse would probably be like definitely something from Prodigy, whether it's from like Shook One's Part Two or Give Up the Goods. Like my Prodigy is like one of my favorite. Like in terms of like I could bar from I could like so I say Prodigy Shook One's Part Two. It's so violent. Like and
Yeah,
like I'd read his interviews and listen to the audiobook that he put out, stuff like that. He was saying like how sickle cell really affected him and the pain he felt. And that's why he put all that in his verse because it was so intricate in terms of like how much pain he'd want to put people through. I was like, man, this guy's dark. I
yeah.
like this guy. Yeah, say it, Prodigy. All right, let's get back to the matter of
I
him.
mean, I think we're in, like I'm surprised we're still on because
Okay.
this thing should have, the recording should have ended a long time ago. Because it's Zoom, and but
Okay.
anyway, we can still go.
Hey,
Um,
whatever works for you,
yeah,
sir.
yeah, yeah, yeah. If it's still working, but it may shut off. Whatever, if it shuts off, it shuts off.
Cool, cool.
Now, how did we even get to the? Because there
Oh,
was a
'cause
question.
the question was it wasn't your favorite album to because I answered like oh
Oh no,
the
no, it
thing,
was if you could spend more time with anyone dead or alive, and
yeah
then
who
you
would
went into your favorite album. But
yeah
yeah,
because
but
I
if
was
you
like
could spend more time with anyone dead or alive, who would it be and why?
right so I would say now I haven't thought about it for like the last 5 minutes it'd be Steve Jobs. So Steve Jobs is someone that is uh
And that's who So when
yeah
I wrote this question,
yeah
and I thought of you. That's exactly who I said it was gonna be.
where's hold up let me show you
Your son.
something real quick.
Yeah.
So I got this is me in a nutshell. So I got this right here,
Mm-hmm.
right,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got this right here.
All right.
All right, so that's me. That's just gonna be the thumbnail for your YouTube video. Boom.
Yeah.
All right. Um, and I don't know if you remember this gem back from NYU.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I keep all the stuff near and dear to me. These are what I'm rocking with. These are my prized possessions over here. But yeah, I'd say Steve Jobs for he uh, inspired me in terms of like technology. And this is before he even did the iPod or something like this. Is when I like Pirates of Silicon Valley came out.
Yeah.
And I saw that. And then this is when I was working in a few recording studios. I saw everyone had a Mac and I had a PC. And I was just like, oh, I wanted to learn how to make music and stuff like that. So I worked 2 jobs and took out, I think they had like a credit program back when I had credit. Again, this is how long ago this was to get like my first Mac, my first Mac desktop.
Yeah.
This is a long time ago. And ever since then, I've just been an Apple fanatic and a Steve Jobs fanatic, man. He's inspired. He's very inspirational to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we've connected in politics.
Yes.
And
Thank you for doing this. Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Let me stop the recording and see.